What's up, guys? It is Brian John Kalina here, Captain Wiz with Midwest Gaming. We are starting a new podcast, a video podcast, vlog, but we're going to be doing a weekly YouTube video series, tentatively called Midwest Mondays because alliteration and stuff, you know, why not? And we're going to start this week with some player interviews so you can kind of get to know us, get to know our sponsors, see what we're all about. And going forward, we'll be talking about meta shifts, tournament reports, maybe more in-depth player profiles, just because these are all going to be pretty quick. I didn't really spend more than 5 minutes talking to anybody except Mount Fuji because that guy's super interesting. So yeah, I hope you enjoy learning more about our players, and we'll take it away. All right, what's up, Joe?
Hello.
How's it going? How's it feel? Has it settled in yet?
Nope, not really. Probably not till I get the trophy.
Sure. Yeah, Joe DIETRICH is your December 21/January 22 remote duel YCS champion with normal summon Alistair that didn't get touched by the list hardly at all. So
yeah, weird.
Yeah, guess who's gonna continue to normal summon Alistair?
Weird.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So favorite card and favorite deck are kind of surprises. Like, I know you love Shaddoll Fusion. I know you like Shaddoll's a lot. I expected your favorite deck to be Spiral, but that was your favorite format instead, that 2019 Extra Spy stuff. That was good. So what, other than the fact that you get to play some doll engines in your Invoke stuff, why do you like dolls so much? Like, what kind of...
I think like engine cards doing things has always been like super interesting to me. Like, I mean, yeah, even with like Spiral, the fact that like your entire engine can just clear boards is so cool. And like I feel like Shaddoll does it really well. It's like a lot of like really floaty cards. It's like the deck just defies Yu-Gi-Oh! Because like there's so many like decks in the game's history that have been like, you know, you play starters, extenders, trap cards, all this, and Shaddoll is like, I play 20 bricks and a couple fusion cards, and I just destroy you. So
yeah.
It's super interesting to me.
Yeah, because the original doll format when they first came out was probably a little bit before you started playing, right?
Oh, definitely before. It was like 2 or 3 years before.
So your two hobbies are Call of Duty and Star Wars, even though I know you like basketball.
Oh yeah.
And I can dunk on you.
Yeah, I like COD a lot. I started playing, like I had never played any shooters. My parents were like super strict about that growing up. And then I moved out when I was 18, and I just like started playing COD and I kind of fell in love with it. I tried playing like pro for like a month. I just couldn't keep up. So I also like didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. It was just like super like time consuming, super grindy, super stressful. So I was like, probably not that. And then yeah, I like Star Wars. I liked Star Wars a lot when I was a kid. And then like growing up, I like it more because I can buy all the expensive toys I couldn't buy when I was younger. I guess my final hobby would be petting my cat. His name is Chonk.
Chonk, yeah. Chonk is a chonky cat. He could eat Izzy for breakfast. That is true.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that wraps it up. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for hanging out. Team owner, starter of Midwest Gaming, Joe DIETRICH, and recent YCS champion. So.
God, yes.
Congratulations. Good stuff, and thanks for talking.
Of course.
All right, what's up? We're here with Joey MISKOWIEC. So, favorite cards are Colossus and Danglong.
You know it.
Even though they're degenerate and awful. Why?
Very. Well, Colossus, Thunder Dragons have always just been super appealing to me. Like, just even the OG, like you play a lot of GOAT, and then you like play that card and stuff like that. It's just super cool card. So originally, I liked OG Thunder Dragon, and then when the deck dropped, I'm just like, wow, this is super cool. You know, just drop big floodgate monsters. Ended up just like topping 2 regionals with it, so I thought it was really interesting.
Lately, you've been on this Earth Machine deck. You put that as one of your favorites.
Yep.
Yeah, we actually have a match between us recorded on TGG's YouTube channel where you scraped me.
No. One game it was skill drain, and the other one was time. I saw a combo when we were going into time, but I don't think it would have got me very far.
Yeah, game 3 would have been fun outside of time, but I think I was in a tough spot.
Right.
Back when I was playing Drytron. But yeah, so how did you pick up this Earth Machine deck? Like, where did that?
I don't even know. I think at first, it was Aerosol TCG. He played on Sir Eminon's like tournament, and I was just like really interested how the deck worked because it was like an infinite resource loop. I'm just like, oh, this is really interesting. And I like the Machina cards, so I just like picked it up, and then I think it was Yishan McNabb that made a video about it after that, and that's when I'm like, it really started picking up some steam. So I just like done a lot of extensive testing with it randomly. I'm just like, this deck's pretty cool. So
awesome, yeah. And your hobbies, Pokemon and cars, nice and simple. You used to work for an auto body, right? You did some car stuff.
Yeah. I'm just doing just like oil changes and stuff like that, and so just the basic necessities. But now I'm just like moving metal like at a factory, so it just paid more. So it was like the opportunity. You're right.
I'll do it. Yeah, but so what brought you into like just cars in general?
Like I was never a car guy throughout life. I like literally like I went to college to be a teacher. There was no money being made there, so I just like after that managed the Taco Bell, and then someone came into the Taco Bell. They're just like, hey, I would like to teach you some new skills. So I'm just like, sure, why not? Tried it out and I loved it. So. And just went from there.
Cool. Awesome. Good stuff. Well, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's up, Avery?
Howdy, neighbors.
Howdy, neighbors, indeed. You were like almost as far away from being our neighbor as you could have been when you were in Texas, and now it's still about the same.
Yeah, it's about the same distance. Just it's colder here.
Yeah. How you liking that?
Oh, Maryland's awful. Yeah, I want to go back to Texas. I don't know. I'm close to DC, which is fun because I have like Pat and Desmond there, and then I'm close to Virginia, so I have like Ryan, Nishad, and Brandon there, so that's fun. Yeah. But like Maryland itself kind of sucks.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So the first thing I'm gonna ask you about is your favorite format. You said, and I quote, "Monarchs are the best mirror in Yu-Gi-Oh history," and I really don't think that's a popular opinion.
Yeah. So. I don't think Monarch's the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh history. I don't think it was necessarily the best, like, healthiest format.
Sure.
But I think specifically the Monarch mirror is the most skillful, like, form of Yu-Gi-Oh, like, in all of Yu-Gi-Oh history. It was one where both players effectively got to play the game during both turns for a long sequence of turns because the deck was really good at not dying. So, like, it was kind of like the Orcus deck before the Orcus deck in that respect. But the Monarch deck was much worse than the Orcus deck. So, like, it wasn't like how both people are playing for both turns for, like, 3 turns, and then eventually someone dies because of how good the Orcus deck was. Like, the Monarch mirror just, like, exemplified everything I love in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, like, almost always, barring, like, the, oh, I bricked aspect of Monarch, like, the better player would win the Monarch mirror, even whenever one player drew, like, much better than the other player because, like, there was life points taken into consideration, resources on hand and field, and then even like the resources and deck aspect of it. It was just like prime Yu-Gi-Oh for me.
Yeah. So, other hobbies that you mentioned: basketball, poker, and I'm assuming HS at Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, you've been you post a lot about poker, right? Like I've seen you play into that lately.
I've been playing more recreationally than like taking it seriously in the last like 2 months, but I really enjoy poker. I think it's like just amazingly designed game. Typically, most of the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh players who make the transition to poker end up being like very good at poker. I don't know if it's just like the math-based side of it that they love that, or if it's just like the competitive drive where it's just like constantly getting better at whatever it is they do. So just as a result, they'll get better at poker. Basketball, I like playing and watching a lot. Big Caruso fan. Sad he's out right now, but was that basketball, poker? Oh, and Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about how serious I want to take that game, but I've really been enjoying it lately. And as of the most recent patch, it's gotten added as like an official esport that they're gonna have like monthly $500,000 tournaments for.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, that's nice. And like, for those of you who haven't ever played, like it's an auto chess simulator where it's kind of like TFT if you've ever played it, but it's just like slightly different mechanics. And it actually came out like a while before TFT. And it's really fun. It's on the Hearthstone platform and it's free to play. Like it's like $15 to get something called Battlegrounds perks, where you get like more options at the beginning of the game, but it's like pretty much free to play.
Awesome.
It's really fun.
Cool. Good stuff. Well, yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting with us. And yeah, we'll see you around.
Y'all make good choices.
All right. What's up, Cody?
Hey.
So, first thing I'm going to ask, Hawaii, Las Vegas. You're in school in Las Vegas now, and you're from Hawaii. Neither of those are in the Midwest. How did you meet Joe, and how did you get onto Midwest Gaming?
Honestly, I'm not sure, like, exactly. I know I met Joe at 2019 Nationals. I played him round 2.
So, yeah, it looks like your favorite cards and decks are, what, Ray, Dante, BA, and Striker?
Yeah, those are my 2 favorite decks.
Yeah, I never played BA, though. We're starting to do some old formats here up in Minnesota, and I think I'm going to pick it up. But I never played the deck. I only played Dolls back in those formats. But
so yeah, BA was always like, it had to play from behind against BA, but I always knew that BA had the highest representation because of what it could do, and it just had like the most diverse cards during that format.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up a BA deck and start playing it during our old 2015 formats and stuff. Should be fun. Let's talk about your other hobbies, bowling and volleyball.
Yeah, I really enjoy bowling. Like, I bowl many tournaments outside. Like, that's basically why I came to the school I'm at right now, was to bowl. And then I did volleyball in high school, but I just started picking it up again in college for recreational, and I just have fun doing it.
Yeah, when I was in high school, they used to give us these summer bowling cards where you get one free game of bowling every day throughout the summer. I think like our elementary, middle, and high school students all got them. So I used to bowl a lot.
Oh, that's sick.
I was never good, but I did a lot.
No, I feel that, but yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. So awesome. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get the whole crew together soon and get IRL events back again. But
I know, I can't wait to see you guys again. It was a blast last time.
Yeah, yep. Awesome, good stuff. Well, take it easy, man. Have a good one. Thanks for doing this.
You too.
All right. Hey, Donovan, how's it going?
Going good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for sitting down with us. The first thing I want to ask about, Teledad ruined my childhood. I didn't play in that format, so I have no idea what it was like back then.
It was not fun. So I had just started like trying to go to actual tournaments and stuff. As I guess like at the time I was too little to actually realize like when cards were coming out and stuff.
Sure.
So right around the time I started playing like in tournaments, it's shifted from the old format into Teledad, where people were actually starting to play Dark Arm Dragon and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, Dad, help me like get these cards and stuff." And he was like, "Oh, how much is it going to cost?" And I was like, "I don't know. We got to buy at least a box." And he's like, "How much is that?" I was like, "It's $100 or something." And he's like, "Ah, no." So like even that was too much for my dad. And I was like, "Oh well." So I would try to go to tournaments with my deck that is just like stuff that I've collected from like gifts from my grandma and like birthdays and stuff, and just get smacked and smacked and smacked every time. I was like, I don't want to play anymore, Dad. like I think it was like after the third turn, like locals or something, and I just looked at my dad after he picked me up, and I was like, I don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, Dad. Like, okay.
Yeah, that was a little bit before my time. Yeah, so let's talk about some of your other hobbies. What is Gundam model building? That's one of the more interesting ones I've seen from the group.
So more properly known as Gunpla. I actually have a bunch behind me.
Oh.
That I always have these up on stream and stuff. So
Yeah.
I build these guys. A lot of times I'll actually paint them.
Oh, nice.
Like this guy over here. I battle damaged and painted him. So
Oh,
all
very
this
cool.
damage on it and all the painting I did myself.
Yeah, awesome. Well, very cool. So other than Yu-Gi-Oh, what's your favorite game to stream?
Favorite game to stream?
Yeah.
I do. That's a tough question. Right now, Halo Infinite is super fun. Like,
Okay.
I'm just having a ton of fun with that. I haven't played a first-person shooter since I was like in high school. Like Borderlands 2
Yeah.
was like the last like first-person shooter I really got into. I
Mhm.
tried Borderlands 3 and hated it, but with Halo Infinite, it's just like it's all I'm just doing the multiplayer, and it's just me and my buddy T playing ranked and goofing around. And I found out like now that I'm not a stupid kid, I'm actually pretty okay at Halo. Like I'm not like actually just unfunctional in
Yeah.
first person shooters.
Yeah.
More coordinated with my hands and stuff.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, yeah, thanks for chatting. Thanks for hanging out. So,
Yeah.
what's up, Daniel? You've been part of Midwest for longer than most, I think, right? When did you join the team?
I joined right before the pandemic, so right before YCS Vegas, and then the world ended. So
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to play all that much, but I'm excited to go to some regionals in the coming months. Hopefully, we get a YCS or two before the end of the year.
Yeah, we're hoping that the February and March regionals don't get bumped to remote like the January ones did. But awesome. So you're a big Spiral fan, Spiral Tough. Favorite card,
Yep.
favorite deck, Spiral, and then your favorite format is Necros.
Yeah, that was the first format where I really tried really hard. I had a friend, and I would go to his house every Friday night. We test all night. We'd go to locals on Saturday. We test all night Saturday, and then go to locals on Sunday. So that was the first time I really was able to sort of learn a format really well. I only played the Necros mirror, so whenever I played against Clee or VA, I had some trouble, but I felt really, really comfortable in the Necros mirror. I still love to play that format with my friends. Yeah, it was great, super fun, and I try to get as much testing in now, even though I'm a grown up and have to do other stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I feel that. That format, my first regional top was actually with Shadal's right before Necros came out. So I'm a pretty big fan of that whole era as well, the pre-Necros doll stuff, and then
Yeah,
even the
BA
Necros
was
stuff
my
after that.
first deck.
Sorry.
My BA was my first competitive deck. I bought
Okay.
it right when DUEA came out.
Yeah, there's quite a few team members that put BA as their favorite decks, so it's pretty popular overall. So you're Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm gonna say this wrong. Tang Sodo Karate?
Tang Sudo Karate,
Tang
yes.
Sudo, okay.
About 100 pounds ago, I got my black belt in Tang Sudo Karate. I just started working with this new place that opened up here, doing some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Those guys are something else, man. They kick my ass every single day, but it's a good time.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for chatting. Thanks for hanging out. All right, what's up, James?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
How does
Good
it
to see you.
feel to be the roommate of a YCS champion?
Oh man, so we've kind of had this ongoing joke, or I guess Joe broke it because I don't know, I never get to see him like I know he's really good, obviously won the YCS, very good player, obviously I've known that, but since he's been here, it's just the local scene just kind of has been crushing him. So it's just we just keep getting all these second place trophies. I think I won 4 or 5 second place trophies, and a lot of mine are they'll only do 4 rounds, but it should be 5. So I'll go undefeated, but I'll get second place just because pairings.
We have locals
whatever.
that do that too. It's frustrating.
Yeah. So I was just man, we really need a first place trophy. And I guess he just took it upon himself to I guess I'll just get a first place YCS trophy. So we have one now.
Yeah,
he has one.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
So favorite deck is Wind-Ups. Is that pre Hunter ban or post?
I like Shock Loop actually.
Okay.
I thought the deck got a lot more room for innovation. Just focusing as opposed to just trying to FTK by ripping the hand, which was obviously very good but very degenerate. You kind of got to, it became more of I guess more of what we see with combo decks now.
Sure.
where just like there was a lot of room for innovation. People started, or like, I don't know, you look at old deck lists now and you're like, man, people sucked at making decks. It's like it's just so different now because, you know, we're more, I guess we base things more on math and stuff. But I feel like that was like the start. People are like, okay, what can we do with just like 2 level 3s to get to like shock loop? And then like going second especially, it's like how can we kill and like outboards and stuff. And then yeah. And then like start thinking about playing around hand traps and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. So hobbies, what kind of sports are you into? Like what kind of stuff do you do weightlifting wise, things like that?
So I used to play baseball and football.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was really into that, and then I have really bad lupus now, so I kind of like had to give up sports like entirely. But that's what I kind of fell in love with the gym.
Oh,
so then that kind of just like, I guess like got me into weightlifting and powerlifting.
Yeah.
So I like that, and I do that when like my health like allows me to. But
Sure. Yeah.
but
I played baseball as a kid, and then I stuck the wrong hand out to catch a ball and broke 2 fingers, and that was that. It was not good.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah,
it was
no,
pretty
I've
dumb.
definitely taken like some balls to like the fingers at the wrong like angle and stuff, and like it's traumatizing.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. And the worst part was it was my dad who had thrown me the ball. It was in a practice, and he just like threw a line drive right at me. I was at first base, and I was like, "Oh, wrong hand. Whoops." But
oh man,
what kind of anime? So if you had to recommend an anime to somebody who never watched anime before, what would you recommend? Because I have never watched anime before, and I should probably watch something. Because all my friends talk about it all the time, and I have no idea what they're saying.
That's fair. I guess it helps kind of knowing the person, but like in a like a general vacuum, I guess I try to recommend something that's a little bit faster paced and has like likable characters.
Sure.
So like I think like Jujutsu Kaisen is probably like a fast-paced, really amazing art. Like all the characters are pretty likable. So like that's probably what I would say. Or like even like Demon Slayer, because like a lot of people, that's the thing, they want to watch anime, but they only have like Netflix or something.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of harder to watch. So like at least like Demon Slayer is on Netflix, and like it's made by like one of the best animation studios ever. So
cool. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good one.
You too. Okay, Mount Fuji, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah,
absolutely. So Mount Fuji is in Tampa, so he is not at his setup, so we don't have video for him. I was considering going to Tampa, but there's some other stuff going on this weekend that I ended up doing instead. So
yeah, did you hear they're doing like the new list too?
I did. That's wild to me. But
literally, just came out yesterday, so we really got to kind of think on the fly. So like, if you hear background noise, we got a bunch of people downstairs like testing and trying to figure things out. I don't know how much. I don't know how productive they're being, but you know.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it'll be interesting results for sure, especially because there's gonna be a lot of people who probably couldn't get to Grand Creator stuff, right? Because a lot of that was delayed. So.
I think so. Yeah. So I like, for example, I'm in that boat for sure. So I mean, if you're like looking at the results, I definitely take them with a little grain of salt. It may not be super indicative of what we're going into.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I want to ask about is Mount Fuji, because I know the majority of the community knew you as Base Lolly in the past, and you kind of like got this new identity for yourself. So can you talk about that briefly?
Yeah, totally. And you know, happy to kind of clear the air on that. When I was a lot younger, I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like very competitively in 2013. And around that time, I joined this forum called duelistgrounds.com. And that was what kind of, like, it was the community that kind of propelled me into kind of the limelight, if you will.
Sure.
But, you know, just kind of looking back on it, I think it might have been a little premature because even though I was like super trolly and a little bit funny, I wasn't actually very good at Yu-Gi-Oh! So like I compensated with this like edge of humor, right? Now at the time I was like 19 or 20, and so Base Lolly was just kind of funny, right? Like that's like what a weird name, right? But you know, like, and like a full decade later, it just doesn't have the same effect in my experience anyway, when I'm like telling people who don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, they're seeing that I play Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm a little more comfortable talking about it, and they're just like, "What is base volley? That sounds super weird." And granted, Mount Fuji doesn't sound much less weird, but you know, I'm a pretty weird dude naturally. It's just you know, I kind of wanted to transition, not the identity per se, because you know I'm me, right? Like the whole baseball, I mean, it's just like a part of me, right?
Yep.
But it was really kind of transitioning the brand away from particularly the word lolly and more to like something else, you know, like literally anything else. And when I made that decision, actually, I was in Japan at the time, and I was traveling. We were doing a day trip outside of Tokyo. It was me, my girlfriend, and then my girlfriend's family. And we showed up to a place called Yamanashi, and that's kind of where you can get a really, really good look at Mount Fuji. And it was like April, so the cherry blossoms were in bloom, and we took a bunch of great pictures, and it was super, super beautiful. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just change my. It was just super beautiful, and I was like, yeah, you know what, let's just slap that bad boy on and see if it takes. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, because you did a lot of. You were over there for quite a while, right, in Japan?
Yeah, I'd say cumulatively I was there for about, now granted I came back and forth, but I think total I sat there for about like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
I was there for a minute.
So did you do a lot of OCG playing while you were there? Did you get that opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I did. And honestly, if you ever get the opportunity, or anybody listening ever gets the opportunity, I'd highly recommend it. It is so much fun, just because it's so different from what we're used to, down to like the culture of it. It's just so radically different. Obviously the cards are different. You know, they have a different ban list, but and as you can probably see on Master Duel, like the format's just like so different.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, right. Like with 3 Max C, right? It just gets crazy. Amongst other things. And you know, people are getting so excited queuing up into Master Duel, and then their opponent makes True King of all calamities, and they're like, all right, well, great. Yeah, like stuff like that. In Japan, when they play, you know, it's a lot different than what you think, right? Like when I was there, I think I was there for like about a month, and it was right when Thunder Dragon Colossus was just released in Japan.
Okay.
And Tokyo was like, their community was like divided. So like half of them are playing Sky Striker, and the other half is playing Ultrageist. And some people are playing Goki, which at the time was by far the best deck. Like it was just like doing insane stuff. It was like Master Rule 3, and people just weren't playing it. So like if you see on their ban list, right, they have like 3 Max C and all this broken stuff, and then you see cards like Ultrageist Multi-Faker to 1. It's like totally indicative of like what is popular for people to play, right?
Yeah.
And so the way they go about banning stuff is definitely a little different than we have here. But that being said, yeah, I would definitely kind of went on a little tangent there, but I would definitely recommend it. Just because of how different it is, right? It's it's a totally different experience. And so obviously not everybody gets the opportunity to do it, but when I first played in a tournament there, it was the first time I ever went to Japan. I was with a group of buddies from college, and we had like one free day. And so one of my buddies said, "Hey, what are you going to do today?" "We're going to go to the Instant Ramen Museum." I was like, "I'm going to go play Yu-Gi-Oh!" So that's kind of how it fell into place, and I got to know some people who played there, and it just kind of fell like a perfect puzzle. I fit in pretty well. I got to play like Sky Striker when it came out, and Thunder Dragon when it came out, and it was awesome. It was super sweet. I highly recommend the experience.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for chatting. Thanks for hanging out. Good luck in Tampa.
Of course, man. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Hello, Michael White. How are you?
I'm doing well, except for the fact that I got bleach on my new sweatpants today, so I'm a little annoyed about that. But otherwise, I'm doing great.
Oh, no.
I know. Yeah.
All right, this is Michael White. He is a Yu-Gi-Oh player on Midwest Gaming, and more importantly, he is my pickleball partner.
Yes, I am, and that is definitely the more important of the two. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew. So Michael and I both live in Minnesota, and I knew that he played pickleball. I knew that he played tennis. And during the pandemic, my wife and I started playing pickleball. And since I knew he played tennis, and that really kind of helps you get into it, I was like, Michael, play pickleball with me. He's like, yes, let's do it. So
Yeah.
we've been doing it ever since. There's a couple leagues near us at a cider company in Minneapolis that we play in. So we get to play pickleball and drink cider. There are a lot of people who asked in that little Google survey that I put out, can I put drinking as my hobby? I'm just like, what is We have a team full of
you gotta do
alcos.
something while you're drinking, like we play pickleball.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Yeah.
So you're a tennis player, you're a pickleball player, and you do video games. You want to talk a little bit about the tennis and the video games?
Yeah. So Yu-Gi-Oh kind of took a back seat in my life. So I started playing when I was 8, and then it wasn't very cool. I think most Yu-Gi-Oh players have gone through that phase in their life where it wasn't cool. So your friends stopped playing, so you stopped playing. And I picked up tennis at that point, and that really became a big passion for me. So I was in tennis from 5th grade into my 2nd year of school at St. Cloud State. So I was on the team for a very short amount of time before I got injured, and then I did something to my shoulder and unfortunately wasn't able to keep playing. But tennis has still been something that I continue to do, and I really like playing it. Thankfully, it was one of the sports, that during COVID, you can kind of play. There were some restrictions regarding it at first, but I was able to play it, through most of it. But then pickleball honestly became a bigger passion, I guess I would say, because 1, I get to play it more. And 2, it's a little bit more relaxed and it's not as expensive. Like tennis, paying for tennis it's very expensive in the winter. So
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then otherwise just video games like your standard nerd, I guess. But yeah. So excited for Legends of Arceus that'll be playing tonight.
Favorite card is Harpy's Pet Dragon.
Yep.
Why?
So yeah, Harpy's Pet Dragon, it's been my favorite card for a couple reasons. 1, nostalgia factor. I've always loved the Harpy archetype in My Valentine, like from the show.
Yeah.
And then number 2, I really liked the deck competitively.
Favorite deck, OG PK Fire.
Correct.
That's like the Phantom Knight BA deck, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it was when Phantom Knights first came out. I really enjoyed the deck. Because at that time we didn't have access to Utopic Future or Draco Future. We just had F-Zero. And I really liked just how that deck interacted with the format. Pendulum was really popular at that time. I remember I won a regional with that deck when it first came out. And Strike was at 3 in the deck, obviously. I still was playing Phoenix Wind Blast, even though that wasn't correct. And then the worst decision that I made was I only played 1 Beatrice when she was at 3. Because I thought Beatrice wasn't that good. I ended up winning the regional with it, but that was not the correct deck choice or the build for that extra deck. So
that's funny.
It was so much fun playing that deck, and I've still loved it to this day. I haven't played the new version of it with Scythe or anything, just because I'm not really a big Scythe fan. But otherwise, it's a fun deck.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, thanks for chatting. All right, what's up, Ryan?
What up?
How's it going? I love the shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So
it's a good.
For those at home, You Will Be Found is a musical reference to Dear Evan Hansen. It's good stuff. Ryan and I are both pretty into music and musicals, even though he thinks Hamilton is overrated.
I still got it. I've only heard some of the songs, so I do like the songs I've heard. I'll just gotta see it.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there one day. I believe in you. All right. So the first thing I'm going to ask you about is your favorite format. You wrote Soul Charge.
Oh, I thought it was sick.
What does that mean?
I think so. At the time, to be fair, I think it's more about what was going on in my life at the time. But it was like I was in college, and I was at school in a cornfield, so I didn't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh when I was actually at school very much.
Welcome to
And
Iowa.
that was the right, and that was the format of that summer between that school year, and so it was like I was like in a factory job, so I had like a lot of money versus what I was usually able to have. So I was just, and then Soul Charge was the format you could just play like anything with Soul Charge. So I was just building a new deck every 3 days and just playing like random decks that I just thought were fun.
Was that
For like a couple.
2014 or something?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think I just played Water at Nats because it was like my first deck I ever did anything with. So I was just like, whatever, I'll play Water. That was my first Nationals too. So it was like my first Nats, and I had a blast playing a bunch of different decks. So
Yeah.
it's more about that.
Sure. So, other hobbies: League of Legends and music.
Is that what I wrote? Nice.
That's what you wrote. How much League do you play?
A
What
decent
is
amount.
League? This is embarrassing. I've never played League. I've never watched
okay.
people play League. I know almost nothing about League. So
it's basically like it's kind of like StarCraft, but a whole team of players play it instead of just one player. So there's like there's just towers and minions that fight each other, and they'll indefinitely do that until your like Nexus is your core until it dies, and so you play as a character and you can influence all that stuff. But it essentially turns into finding little advantages and then fighting people. And it's like kind of like a fighting game, it's like kind of like chess, kind of like a fighting game at the same time.
Sure. Sounds
Just
interesting. All my friends do all these cool things that sound interesting, but all I do is play pickleball and Yu-Gi-Oh. So.
Hey, pickleball and Yu-Gi-Oh is pretty cool.
What's up, Austin / the DV Grinder?
What's up?
So, what made you start doing that YouTube channel? That's probably one of the most popular Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube channels that exists, I imagine.
I actually started it like 8 years ago, back right when shit all came out. But I didn't take it that seriously until like 2 years ago. I honestly don't remember why I started it. I can't remember. It was so long ago. I just kind of wanted to be like a part of the community.
Yeah,
I guess that's kind of like why I started.
Yeah, no, it definitely works. Like you're. Every time I ask people why they say things like, "Don't you watch DV Grinder?" I was like, "Yes," but what was it? It was the Christmas package the other day. And I was like, "Why is it called that?" I was like, "Don't you watch the DV Grinder?" I was like, "I must have missed that video." But yeah, cool. So, your favorite formats are Necros and Fusion Sub-Zoo. I gotta ask, why Fusion Sub-Zoo? I didn't play, but I've heard that was terrible.
No, I felt like I was so far ahead that format, like every time.
Sure.
And then I don't know, it just felt like a really good format. I really liked Orchis format too.
Okay.
Like the entire Orchis format. Like the multiples. I don't know, I just really like those formats. Felt like skill like would take you very far even if the opponent was opening better. So then like you just had like you were better than the opponent, you had a better deck build than the opponent. I feel like you could do well.
Sure.
I feel like those formats were like really good.
What kind of stuff do you do with the stock market? I think that's probably one of the more interesting hobbies I got from all the players was the stock market. Everybody else is like, "Oh, I like music and being outside and hanging with friends." Like, okay. But
yeah, no, that's where I spend like, a good amount of my time. I'm really interested in it and how it works. I just like money, so like the stock market's literally just money. So
yeah, it's fair. Fair.
It's cool. I like looking into it, and there's always new stuff going on, new stuff to look at.
Yeah.
But,
cool.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for that.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Thanks for chatting with me. All right. What's up, Adrian? How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you, Brian?
I'm good. The first thing I'm gonna ask about Baby Raccoon Ponpoko. That deck was the most annoying deck that I ever played against.
Yeah, that deck is the best deck of that era, bro. 2014, I think it was. Yeah, it was like the first deck I played like IRL.
Okay.
And like I started off in a very scrubby local, so like it was good enough to be like all of them. Like my technical play was already really good at that point. Like Obviously, it's like way worse than it is now, but it was good enough to beat them. So
Sure, yeah. Yeah. So your favorite formats are the 2019 and that 2016 ABC Frog Metaphors format was fun. I didn't play in it a lot because I was in grad school and that took up a lot of my time. But yeah, what kind of decks? What was your favorite deck from that format? What were you playing during it?
in 2016, like in my opinion, like ABC was like the best deck. But like obviously, like people that played Metaphors, they're like Metaphor was by far the best deck, and then people that played Frogs, they're like Frog was the best deck. Like all of them were just really good decks. But I think like ABC had probably slightly less consistency, but had like a lot more power behind him, in my opinion.
Sure.
God, yes.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, man.
All right, for sure.
All right, hey, we're here with Shu, a pretty recent addition to Midwest Gaming. He's not really from the Midwest. He's from Philadelphia.
Yep.
So yeah,
Oh, yes.
Joe's been expanding the Midwest Gaming
Yep.
to lots of places that aren't in the Midwest, but that's okay. So the first thing I want to ask you about, Shu, is your favorite card deck and format all kind of line up. It's Chaos Space, Dragon Link, and any Dragon Link format. You just,
Well, pretty much.
you like dragons?
I mean, that's the deck and the format I did the best with it. So of course I like it because I have results I got attached to it.
Sure. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will always hold a soft spot for Shadal's because that was my first regional top. My first
That's
premier
fair.
top was penned FTK. I don't really have a
Ooh.
nostalgic attachment to that because that
Yeah.
deck was toxic.
That's fair.
But you know, it is what it is. So yeah, you
Yeah.
also have a win with Sky Striker too. So what makes
Mhm.
you like Dragon Link over Sky?
I mean, Sky Striker is well, kind of boring because it's being the same thing. But Dragon's always different.
Sure.
Every time there's a card pool, there's a boundless. There's new cards. Dragon just gonna able to adapt to it.
Yeah.
That's why.
That makes sense. There's a lot more innovation for
Yeah.
Dragon Link. It changes a bit more from format to format as
Mhm.
cards get hit and stuff. So what made you decide to start doing your YouTube channel, the YGO Lab, with the
Oh.
metagame stuff?
Well, I always wanted to have that kind of content, just a very competitive focused channel existing in either YouTube, Twitch, or any other platform. And it turns out it just never really is one for TCG for a while. So I was like, well, if I can't really enjoy any content from someone else, might as well just do it for myself.
Yeah, that works. That works. Cool. Well, thanks for chatting. Thanks for hanging out. What up, Walter Crisp, the crispiest of the crisps?
Jesus Christ.
I've been planning that all day.
I'm sure you have.
For those of you at home, Walter lives like 10 minutes away from me. And if you see me playing a Yu-Gi-Oh card in a tournament, it's probably Walter's. He's the GOAT. We love Walter. Walter has a favorite deck, and it's, according to my notes, ABC? No.
Absolutely not.
No.
What the hell?
Walter's favorite card is insert every BA card here. So, of course, his favorite deck is Burning Abyss.
Yes, sir.
And his favorite format is not Burning Abyss formats. So,
I know, it's weird.
yeah, so a lot of people like the Burning Abyss decks. Dante gets a lot of love. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that people like other formats, even though that's their favorite deck. But what about the Orcus format? Like, kind of makes it a better format for you, even though you like BA so much.
That was so that has to do with the regionals I played. I actually did somewhat decently, even though I still have no tops to my name. But I felt really comfortable with that deck, and I really enjoyed playing it through that format.
Sure. So what's the story behind this 9th place Iowa regional?
I was playing Orchest, and I was actually really on the fence about it. The night before, I had messaged Joe Dietrich. I'm like, what the hell do I do? I'm committed to going to this thing. I don't know what I want to play. I don't want to drive, 4 hours to do really bad. So he sends me over an Orcus list. I'm just like, this seems fine. Whose is it? Justin Singh's list, and I'm like, oh, well, he's good. I guess I'll just put this together and play it. So yeah, fast forward to the regional and get all the way up to the 8th round, and of course my final round is against Justin Singh, and he realized really fast that I was playing his list because he made Nibiru's in it. And he's like, "Are you playing my list?" I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, great. So I lost to him pretty horribly and then got 9th place. I'm like, well, I get what I deserve, I suppose.
Yeah. All right. Favorite hobbies. You put video game collecting, video editing, and Photoshop, and I added music because that's how Walter and I met. We sat we sat down kind of. I met through Yu-Gi-Oh, but I sat down at a locals, and he was using a Schmidt Music repair shop rubber mat as his play mat, and I was just like so confused because at the time I worked for Schmidt Music and I didn't know this man. I was like, what is going on?
You're working at the Edina store, and I was working in central purchasing.
Yeah, that was wild. But yeah, so Walter's a musician, and we love that. But tell us about the video game collecting, because that intrigues me.
I've always enjoyed video games. It's been a big part of my life, all throughout, and it really picked up like I want to say like a year or two before the pandemic hit. Even I discovered a few groups on Facebook that did a lot of retro gaming stuff. They did swap meets, stuff like that. So I went out to one and then accidentally dropped about $400 on retro video games. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm in it now.
Well, thanks for hanging out. We are here with Nick Ortiz from Florida. How did you meet Joe? I'm always curious on how Joe collects all these people from not the Midwest and adds them to Midwest gaming.
So I met Joe probably, what was it? It was like a Pro Play Tour Championship in Orlando.
Okay.
It was the format right after like the ban list crucified everything.
Mhm.
They like banned Stalio and they banned Colossus, banned Engage, all that stuff. And he was playing Spiral and I was playing and we just had a really good back and forth. He says it was a good back and forth. Game 3, I opened set pass for 10 turns, and he's like, "Oh, this game's so good." Like, I have no cards, but he liked it. And he thought I was a good player. And then I met him again in the 3v3 in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then I think COVID hit, so it was just we kind of just went our separate ways there for a while. And then after a while, I got a message from him asking how I feel about joining Midwest because he was contacting Sebastian Todd as well. And I was like, oh, it sounds cool. Might as well. It's really fun. So,
yeah, it is cool, Sebastian Todd. Very cool. Favorite format, hat. Yeah, what were you doing in that format? What decks were you playing?
So I mainly played Fire Kings during the time because I was only 14. So I didn't have a huge budget when it came to things. The only money card I had was like I had one Econ and I had one 101. But there were a lot of other decks with various money I couldn't afford. The hands were like $11 a piece, which didn't seem too bad. But when you need 6 of them, it's like looking at $65.
And when you're 14,
it was expensive. Oh yeah. It's like I can play with my $50 Fire King deck. But I love that format because all of the decks base power level were like pretty evenly matched, and then you can play really powerful like generic power cards in it. Whereas like in current Yu-Gi-Oh, at least the past couple of years, where Toss format was really close to Hat in my opinion in terms of favorites. But while Hat had like really good generic staples with like solid other deck cores that you could put into them, Toss was more like every single deck was defined by one really strong archetypal interaction or one very strong like archetypal play that they could do that wins the game, and then like the generic power cards aren't nearly to the same level.
Yeah.
So I just love kind of like the genericness and the borderline standardness that Hat had that put a lot of decks over the edge. I mean, like Worms topped.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like Worm Jagen, Worm Zek kind of worms.
Yeah, that was a wild time indeed. And then of course, a man after my own heart, Sky Striker, favorite deck. Ugh. When I saw Engage come off the ban
It's
list, I was over the
oh,
moon.
it was so I was happy. I was happy. You
Yeah.
know, I always played the deck, even when Engage got banned. I took it to regional like the weekend after Engage got banned,
Mhm.
and it was horrible. But then when Rose came out, I was like, oh, I can play this deck finally, and I think I got top 4 at a regional with it. And I was like, you don't need, bro. Engage is a brick. You don't need it. You lose to Ash to it. Like summoning Rose doesn't lose to Ash. But yeah,
That's true. That's true. You're not wrong.
it's true. It doesn't happen. But yeah, when Engage came back, I was really happy. And it's just been a pet deck. I kind of want to move on to other decks, but it's more along the lines of like I don't really want to invest into a new deck right now with no in-person events.
Yeah.
So because of that, I've just been playing this one deck for so long.
Yeah.
But I feel like when nationals come around, assuming that they're in person, or other big in-person YCSs come around, I might pass the baton to someone else. But for now, it's probably been my favorite deck I've ever played.
Yeah. So one of your hobbies had me curious too. Japanese translation.
Yep.
How'd
So
that come
I have
about?
so I have a minor in Japanese linguistics.
Okay.
The short story is I wanted to take Spanish at college, and I wanted to take a language my first semester. But when I asked to take Spanish, they were like, "Oh, it was full." So I was kind of put on the hot seat to be like, "Oh, what other language could I learn?" I was like, "Oh, I guess Japanese would be cool." And I didn't know that was like an impossible language to learn for an English speaker. So I'm just really stubborn though, so I didn't stop learning it. So like 4 years later, I was just like, "Oh, I guess I just have a minor in this language now." But yeah, I to try and keep myself up with it, I'm a freelance Japanese translator that I do on the spare time.
Awesome.
So if like a niche series comes out or like a little small article that you want to read is in Japanese and you want to translate it, usually people come to me and I'll translate it for a small price.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Take it easy. Thanks for hanging.
Yeah, no problem. See you.
All right, what's up, Caleb?
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing? So why is your favorite card Donzalug? Is it because you beat me with it in GOAT format all the time?
Yes, I like Gonzalez because no one, or I guess maybe just around here, but not a lot of people expect it, and he's just insane. He's one of the only warriors that doesn't lose to Tsukiyomi, so he's nice.
Your favorite format was listed. You spent a whole paragraph talking about how you liked all the old formats, and then you say maybe current because I play it the most. But
Well, yeah, I don't. I guess like you mentioned before, I haven't been playing for super long, so there's never a format that I was like, oh, this is my favorite. But going back into all the different ones has been, I don't know, it's been good to see a lot of different stuff. So
So far between 2011 to 15, what's like if you had to pick off the top of your head, what's your favorite so far that you've dived into?
Ooh, probably 2011. A lot of people compare it to like GOAT, but just a little faster. So I guess that's why I like it.
Yeah, I've been learning 2011 lately. It's interesting. I'm bad at it, but that's okay. Your hobbies read like a dating app, so I consolidated. I almost expected to read long walks on the beach, but one of them was
Almost.
being
thought about it.
outside. You
Well,
just-
all right. That had to do with all the other stuff. Oh my god.
Elaborate, please. Our viewers want to know the real Caleb Venegas.
Okay. Well, like it's just especially during the summer, I like to play a lot of sports, like play basketball, play spike ball, skate, hammock, and so I said, and be outside. That went with all the other things. So Brian's just a clown. He doesn't want to read.
Yeah. So, what kind of PC gaming? You said you've been getting into that a little bit lately. What have you been playing?
Yeah, I finally just got a graphics card, so been playing Apex and Valorant, like the big name FPS stuff, because one of my friends plays. So he's been trying to get me into it.
Thanks for chatting. Thanks for doing this. All right, what's up, guys? Last and sometimes least, to be perfectly honest, my name is Brian John Kalina, Captain Wiz, Captain of Midwest Gaming. I'll start with explaining where Wiz came from. I was on drumline in college. A friend of mine who was on drumline with me gave me the nickname Wiz Kalina because of Wiz Khalifa, of course, and it just kind of stuck. So we roll with it. It's fine. It works. It's clever. We like that. So there it is. My favorites are pretty simple. Favorite card, favorite deck, favorite format. I like Sky Striker. My hobbies, I forgot I put this. My wife's name is Montana, so make of that what you will. Music, I love pickleball. So I played some tennis in college, not very well. I wasn't ever good, but I played it a lot, so it was cool. And then during the pandemic, my parents were like, "Have you ever heard of pickleball?" I was like, "The sport you play in gym class?" Question mark. And they're like, "Yeah, people are playing it everywhere." I was like, "Okay." So we picked it up, and we play it a lot now. There's a cider company, and I think I touched on this when I interviewed Michael a little bit. All these interviews are out of order, so it's a time and a half. It's been a wild ride, but there's a cider company in Minneapolis where we play leagues and stuff, so we get to drink and play pickleball, and it's a grand old time. And one of my favorite hobbies that I started picking up during the pandemic is Taylor Tuesdays. So I just got kind of bored one week because we were stuck in the house all the time. And I have a couple of Taylor Swift songbooks. So I started just going live on Facebook and singing Taylor Swift songs while I play the piano. We have an example. Haha.
I knew you were trouble when you walked in. So shame on me now, flew me to places I've never been. Till you put me down, oh I knew you were trouble when you walked in. So shame on me now, flew me to places I've never been. Now I'm lying on the cold hard ground. Oh, trouble, trouble, trouble.
Oh my god. So if you don't know the story behind that goat thing, there will be a link in the description. It's hilarious. I love it. But yeah, so I have always been a Taylor Swift fan, but I like really got into Taylor Swift during the pandemic when I started doing these Taylor Tuesdays and stuff. So yeah, I just got super into Taylor Swift. More than I already was, and Taylor Tuesdays are now a recurring thing that I do. So tune in on my Facebook page. Other than that, thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully we'll get. I feel like I say this at the end of every interview with players. Hopefully we get IRL events soon, so all of us can hang out with you all, and it'll be a grand old time. Until that, have a good one, guys. Thanks.